Hey, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing some really bizarre, disturbing Reddit mysteries. I have scoured Reddit for hours and hours the last few days and read hundreds of posts and comments to find Reddit posts that are not only really disturbing and creepy, but also Reddit posts that you guys have probably never heard of before, ones that are not as well known and not covered a lot. So unless you're like chronically on Reddit and chronically on the creepy side of Reddit specifically, you probably have not heard of these. If you have, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Listen anyway, it'll be fun. So not only are these posts very disturbing or creepy, they have a mystery element to them, something unsolved. I have a pretty wide variety today. All these posts are very different from each other. And like I touched on, they're lesser known, not talked about as much. So we're gonna get right into it. This video is supported by a sponsor. I'll be right back though. Now, I want you to just take a moment and picture this. You're on your couch after a long day at work. You have nothing else to do that day. You get some cocoa or some tea, you light a candle, and you put on Gilmore Girls or maybe The Haunting of Hill House if you're looking for something a little spooky. You collapse into your comfy couch, you grab a fuzzy blanket and entomb yourself in it. But you need just one more thing to add to your arsenal of self-care and comfort, and that is the best, most aesthetically pleasing game, Love and Pies. Love and Pies is kindly sponsoring today's video, and if you haven't tried them already, while the leaves are changing color outside is the perfect time to pick it up. Love and Pies is a mobile game where you match ingredients to make pies and other delicious baked goods. You then sell them to customers and use your earnings to renovate your own cafe in a tiny town of Appleton as you follow a drama-filled, engaging story of Amelia with her quirky friends as she renovates her mom's burnt-down cafe. As you renovate and decorate your cafe and Appleton, you get to customize however you want. So you get to design the rooms in your style. I want to show you guys my library. Look at how cute that is. This is the design that I chose. Doesn't it look so warm and inviting? You just want to jump through the screen and curl up on that couch and read a book. As you can see in my game, I'm on level 142. I'm further than probably any of you. And I love mobile games. I play so many mobile games, but Love and Pies is by far my favorite one. My favorite part about Love and Pies is that there's always something exciting to do in the game. There's always events going on with amazing and fun prizes. And because you like my content, I know so many of you out there will also resonate with Love and Pies. Download Love and Pies using my link at the top of the description right below this video and play until day 3 in the game. Get till day 3 in the next 7 days after this video is posted. You will get 50 gems and 200 extra energy delivered right to your inbox in the game. Thank you again so much to Love and Pies for being a continued partner of this channel. It's so fun to get to work with brands that I love so much in my personal life. So just trust me, go try it out now, and let's get into the video. So the first post we're going to be diving into today is from Reddit user Joe Likes Music. And this was posted on the r/Houston subreddit, as in Houston, Texas. Zaza Insider's question: what's up with room 322? Stay here frequently when on business. Hotel was booked solid and my colleague managed to score a room unplanned. We all had normal Zaza style rooms, swank, and he ended up in this goth dungeon closet. Seriously, the room had a chain holding the bed to the wall, pictures of skulls, and a creepy, incongruous portrait of an old man. Room was about 1/3 the normal size, with the furniture blocking part of the TV, bed, and window. We asked about it at the front desk, and the clerk looked up and said, "That room isn't supposed to be rented," and immediately moved him. Anyone know what's up with this room? Now I have to go and see if I can make reservations in the yacht room. Okay, and then for proof, they added photos. They added a little album of photos of what this room looked like, which we love that on Reddit when there's proof. So here's one of the creepy pictures. 2, here's a clock with a skull on it, more skulls in the closet. A really creepy painting. Look at these. Absolutely wild. More skulls. There's the bed chained to the brick wall. Another picture of the bed. Very odd. The pillow says, "Hey, beautiful. We love to stay Zaza." It's just a hotel pillow. So here are more of the pictures. You can pause to look at them more closely if you'd like. That is one, honestly, kind of slay. I kind of like the room, but also creepy. Why is there no carpet? It's just like concrete floors. So here's a couple of edits added to the post. This gets more wild. Edit 2. Chronicle emailed and put them in touch with my friend who stayed in this room. Here's the link. I still don't understand why these rooms aren't on the website when all the other themed rooms are, and this is a hotel, meaning they want to rent rooms. The top comment says that 322 is a number relevant to the Skull and Bones Secret Society at Yale. Somebody else said there could be something to this. Someone said, oh, no doubt, this is definitely a room for old Yaleys to bang sex workers. And if you're curious about this weird portrait of the white man with the mustache in the room, so according to the web, that is a portrait of a Stanford Financial Group executive named Jay Camo. Not sure if I'm saying that right. And somebody else commented about this saying, interestingly, the guy in the portrait, Jay Camo, went to LSU, which is home of the Frayers. They are a secret society whose symbol also includes a skull and crossbones. So people are speculating that this room, it may not just be the Skull and Bones Secret Society of Yale, but it may also be associated with other secret societies. And right on their wiki page, it says Skull and Bones, also known as the Order 322. 322 is the same as the room, or the Brotherhood of Death is an undergraduate secret society at Yale University. And like I said, it gets weirder because this post takes one more odd turn in one of the edits. So the poster goes on to say, and to the very new Redditor offering me a bounty to delete this thread, I'll totally do it because cash is cash, but I don't want to die either. So let's do this publicly. I'm posting your message you sent me, and we can meet at the Monarch Bar next week. I'll be in town on Monday, and we'll update this thread when I get to the Monarch so we can meet. And then they said that they posted a screenshot of this message that they got, but it doesn't seem to work anymore. The link doesn't seem to work, but I'm sure that actually happened. Now, whether it was a genuine offer or not, I don't know. It could have just been somebody messaging them, pretending like they wanted them to take it down, because he never took it down. So obviously they never actually exchanged any money. So it could have just been somebody trying to like add to the mystery or whatever. But it also could be genuinely somebody who offered him money to take this post down. This is definitely the most lighthearted / fun one that we're talking about today. But if you guys have any insights, or let me know if you've ever stayed at the Zaza Hotel in Houston, I would love to hear your stories in the comments. Okay, the next one we're talking about today is from a throwaway account. There's not much use in crediting the author, and it was posted in the subreddit r/relationship advice. So this is a 26-year-old female, and she's saying, my 27-year-old male boyfriend falsely staged a drug intervention for me. I'm not addicted to drugs. What do I do? I, a 26 female, have been with my boyfriend, 27 male, for 3 years. Our relationship has had absolutely no issues before this incident. He has been the perfect and most loving partner. However, last week I came home from work to an intervention with all of my close family and friends, orchestrated by my boyfriend, who has apparently convinced them I'm a drug addict. For context, I have no history of drug use, no behavioral signs that would suggest addiction, and no reason for him to believe otherwise. I believe he knows that I'm not on drugs because he has said things to my mom and sister that he knows to be untrue, that things have gone missing around the house. They haven't. That I've used his credit card to withdraw money. I don't even have his card details, and that I've been acting erratically, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. When I confronted him about all this, he said, it's not about the drugs, it's about making sure you're safe. My partner is a psychologist and has convinced my entire family I am displaying all the hallmark signs of drug addiction. They all insist that I'm in denial and that I need help. No one is willing to entertain my denials at all. My mom says she isn't willing to have me over to her house, and my sister won't allow me to see my nieces until I go to rehab. Based on conversations with my family and friends, I believe he's been spinning this story for several months now prior to staging the intervention. I'm super embarrassed as he organized for practically all of my close friends, families, and even a work colleague attend the intervention. But more than that, I feel utterly betrayed and confused. I can't understand his motivation for doing this. Can anyone offer some insight as to what is prompting this otherwise normal man to do this? There's not much personal insight I can add to this post. I'm just going to read the top comments because I think they say it all. Obviously, this is extremely alarming because he's a psychologist, which means that based on the limited information we have, he is using his knowledge about the mental health field and the brain to manipulate his girlfriend's friends and family. The top comment says, "Get the fuck out now. He's manipulating your friends and family to gain total control and isolate you. He's going to hurt you." Somebody else responded to that and said, "This is genuinely one of the worst / scariest advice posts I've seen on Reddit. Really hope she gets out fast." They responded, "As someone who went through this, they isolate, then the abuse starts. This post made my blood run cold." Someone else said, "Soon as I read he's a psychologist, I came to say exactly this. He's not only manipulating your friends and family, he's manipulating you. Actually, this probably belongs in r/manipulation rather than here, relationship advice. I especially love the little, it's not about the drugs, it's about ensuring you're safe. Next thing you know, you are in a psych ward because you're at risk," quote unquote, I think is what they meant. "You do not want that. Leave this relationship immediately, block your boyfriend, let family and friends know you're okay, but go low contact with him until you have this sorted out. Because he has now laid the groundwork, you leaving him will definitely be perceived as a result of your drug issues," quote unquote. The next person advised, "Get a drug test, the hair kind, and let them all grovel with apologies. Also dump the boyfriend who has weaponized his profession to isolate and control you." OP actually responded to this comment and says, "I propose to do this on the spot at the intervention, but they are convinced that there are, quote, ways to fool them. My mom has said that she won't believe me until I go into a rehab facility and a provider there confirms this, but this requires me to actually get admitted." That is bananas that her family literally wants her to be admitted into a rehab facility, even though she is willing to take a drug test. This is such a scary situation. And the creepiest part about this is that comment that I read from OP just now. That is the only comment they've ever left on Reddit. Obviously, this is a throwaway account to stay anonymous, but she never posted an update. She never commented to anybody else saying what happened or what came of this, leaving everybody pretty scared for OP. Now, I don't want to be super dramatic. Like I said, I know this was a throwaway account, so it could have been resolved in private, and OP just never thought to update Reddit on it or anything. Some people just don't have the time or energy, especially if she was going through such a stressful endeavor and a breakup and a whole thing with her family like this. Then obviously it makes sense that maybe she didn't ever think to update Reddit. I do also get the vibe that this one is real. I don't think that this is made up because this is such a plausible scenario. I mean, there's countless abusive relationships out there, so this is just so scary. This was only posted about a year ago, so all I can hope is that OP is safe. But I think this is such a good thing to read and also digest, that abuse does not always look one way. Sometimes it also is slow. Sometimes it's a slow buildup of manipulation and isolation. Sometimes it's not always super blatant or stuff that we see on TV. Sometimes it can look like this. But man, do I want to know what happened. All right, the third one for today is a very short one. This is actually a comment in an Ask Reddit post. The Ask Reddit post asked, "What's your most WTF experience?" One where the only thing you could think of afterwards is just, "What the serious fuck?" And a user, Dark Aurora, responded to this post and said, "Okay, this has really been bugging me for the last few weeks. I live alone with my 2 dogs. One day I get out of bed in the afternoon, because I work night shift, and find a blue sleeve lying on my floor. I don't own anything even remotely similar to it, and it looks like the sleeve had been cut with a knife either at the elbow or at the shoulder. It has a bit of stitching near the cuff where someone has repaired a small hole, and it has a small amount of dried white paint splashed on it. I still have no fucking idea where it came from, who it belongs to, or how it even got into my house. Normally I blame my dog for bringing it into the house after a walk, but this appeared overnight, or morning in my case, and my dog wears a muzzle when he goes out. I I've left it lying on the living room floor since it appeared. And edit, they added a picture of it for us. So here is a picture of the mystery sleeve that is cut off at the bottom, like it was cut off from a sweatshirt, and then just appeared in OP's house, according to them. One of the comments said in all caps, which I feel like is warranted in this case, check your attic or crawl space immediately. But OP replied, I don't have either. Second floor flat. Besides, if someone can sneak past my 2 dogs alive, then they deserve to stay. A deleted Reddit user commented, you should probably contact the police and tell them what you just told us. Ever heard of Russell Williams? He broke into a lot of houses before he started killing, and people started noticing weird things like this when he was in his exploration and sniffing phase. Just saying. Conservation of energy, dude. Sleeves don't come from nowhere. And somebody replied to that, why would you even say that? Someone else offered the explanation. A lot of clothes get donated to charities or those clothes banks that are not good enough conditions for resale, like bleach stains. When you look at the picture, it does look like bleach stains, not like white paint, like OP said. So that is possible. That's why people are saying that it's bleach on there, not white paint. But they said they're cut up like that and sold in bales of rags. No idea where it came from, but I'm guessing that it's a rag from somewhere like a garage, factory, or other industrial workplace. And the commenter replied, okay, that sounds perfectly reasonable. Just need to figure out how it got in the house, if that's the case. And then from another deleted account, somebody said, I once lived alone in a studio apartment and found a journal from who I deduced to be a homosexual suicidal man. It was under my oven. I found it while retrieving a cat toy. Perhaps the sleeve was in one of those hidden spots and the previous occupant forgot to clean it before you moved in. A dog could have found it while it was exploring the home. That is a theory that I do like the most. I kind of wonder if the commenter went to bed to go to sleep and one of the dogs was like exploring the apartment, and maybe this sleeve was left by a previous tenant that was used as a rag for the previous tenants of this apartment, and maybe their dog just found it somewhere and it smelled funny, so the dog pulled it out from under the fridge or somewhere like that you wouldn't look when moving into a place, and then just left it on the floor. We don't know for sure, but that sounds like a more plausible explanation since there didn't seem to be any follow-up from OP saying that they actually had a squatter. And also, like, sneaking into a house, I don't know. Again, the likelihood of it actually being a serial killer sneaking in and leaving random things in people's houses as they're, before they escalate like that one person suggested seems pretty unlikely. So I would imagine that it's something like that. But again, we never know for sure. And regardless, this would be so scary. This would be so scary. I would cry if that happened to me. Okay, so huge trigger warning for this fourth Reddit post today. This involves a dad killing his family and also a huge trigger warning for animal death. I will not go into details, but the pet dog does die in this story. Now, before I start this story, a lot of people were accusing OP of lying, and I do understand that. I appreciate people's skepticism, as so much on the internet is just straight up lies or made up or bots and all that. But I do want to start this story off by saying that this user has been verified. This is a verified identity by the moderators of this subreddit, and there is proof online that this person is who they say they are. There is articles linked to this. This is a real event that actually happened. And this one is just objectively the most disturbing one today. So on September 11th, 2022, this was posted on the QAnon Casualties subreddit, and it was posted by an account called QAnon Ruins Families. So the title says, trigger warning, my Q dad snapped and killed my family this morning. Yep, the internet ruined him. Growing up, my parents were extremely loving and happy people. I always had a special bond with both my parents. In 2020, after Trump lost, my dad started going down the Q rabbit hole. He kept reading conspiracy theories about stolen election, Trump, vaccines, etc. He always said that he wanted to keep us safe and healthy. It kept getting worse and he verbally snapped at us a few times. Nothing physical though. He never got physical with anybody. Well, around 4 a.m. on September 11th, which was the day that she posted this, he had an argument with my mother and he decided to take our weapons and shoot her, my dog, and my sister. My mother succumbed to her wounds and my sister is in the hospital right now. My dad also fired back at the cops and they killed him. I'm shocked and I don't even know what to say. Fuck you, QAnon. I hope the FBI tightens its grip on you and that your lackeys rot in prison and hell for poisoning so many people. And a pinned comment by a mod says, we can confirm this is authentic. I'm so sorry for your loss, OP. We all are. If there's anything we can do, don't hesitate. I'm not going to read a lot of the comments because you can imagine what they say. It's mostly just other people in the anti-QAnon circles expressing their condolences and saying, you know, similar stories or similar situations that they've heard of, or just other family members that have maybe not gone to this extreme, but have been poisoned by this community. So like I said, this is a real news story. Here's some of the headlines. This is the woman from this story. She was only 21 when this happened and her sister was 25, but I could not find any information about the sister actually passing away. And the article seemed like her injuries were non-fatal. I saw something in one of the articles saying she was in stable condition. I couldn't find an obituary or anything. So I believe that the older sister thankfully survived this ordeal. And so both sisters survived, but they did lose both of their parents and their beloved pet on this day. So the OP, the person who posted this, got really, really lucky. She wasn't there. She was spending the night at a friend's house the night that this happened. And it just so happened that he snapped on the night that she was away. So she is fully aware of the fact that he would have done the same to her. She is Rebecca, and her sister, who also got injured, his name is Rachel, her older sister. And Rebecca, the OP, was saying in the articles that her dad had been kind of getting weirder and weirder over time. He seemed very normal during childhood, but she could tell that the red flags were coming. And so she had started distancing herself from the family because she was starting to get scared of her dad. And again, it seemed like she was trying to tell her sister and her mother that she was afraid, but they just didn't feel the same way. They just felt like he would never he would never go that far. He would never actually hurt us. And I just also want to be very clear that I'm a leftist. I hate Trump. I am an open Trump hater. And with that, of course, I hate QAnon. I think it does ruin lives. I think it does brainwash people, but I think all extreme conspiracy theories do. I don't think that if it was on the opposite political spectrum, I would feel the same way. But I think with QAnon specifically, they're the ones, just statistically speaking, the right, which is typically who QAnoners are on the right side of the political spectrum, are more willing to pick up weapons, are more willing to have more of the dangerous beliefs of that the vaccines are killing everybody and kind of get brainwashed into that. Now, that being said, it sounds like this was a cocktail of a lot of awful things all at once. I obviously am aware that this dad likely had some serious mental health issues that he was not getting treatment for, and that his other than the woman we're talking about here obviously saw it, but his wife and other daughter obviously didn't seem to think that it was ever going to get this bad. And obviously I think that it's not like just QAnon alone. There's plenty of QAnon people that don't actually kill anybody, that are not violent or anything like that, right? So obviously I don't think that it was just QAnon that made him snap and do this. I'm sure there was serious mental health issues or some sort of mental health event that came up after childhood or kind of as this all started. And it was a perfect storm, a perfect mix. Obviously, I'm not an expert. I am not going to diagnose him with anything, of course, but I just want to be so clear that as much as I hate QAnon, I still don't think it's fair to say that it was QAnon alone that caused this, because there's a lot of hardcore conspiracy theorists that never do anything so awful, that would never do anything as terrible as this. Now, with that being said, I don't blame Rebecca for blaming QAnon. I do think that in spite of his mental health, I'm sure from her perspective, even if it was serious mental health issues, it was the QAnon rabbit holes that her dad was going down that pushed him over the edge. That was more of like the catalyst or the trigger, I think, is what she's more saying. I don't think the daughter is denying that there were serious mental health issues at play here, but I think that she was just so angry at QAnon specifically because it feels like if it weren't for these conspiracies and for these really dark rabbit holes that he was going down and kind of the brainwashing that he was going through, that perhaps this could have ended up differently. Most definitely 100% one of the most disturbing Reddit posts I've ever read. Okay, and the last post that we are going to talk about today, this is one that I do actually think some people might have heard of before. I like to try to make posts that you haven't heard of before, so it's not just like every other Reddit video on YouTube. So I saved the one that maybe some of you have heard of for last, but I still think even if you've heard of this one, I still think it's fun to revisit some of these posts because it might have escaped your memory and you might be like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So let's relive it together. This one was actually posted in the subreddit r/ghosts, and it was posted by a user called Red Wants Blue 80. This one's also really interesting because it has audio proof with it. She shows us the recording, and if it doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Even if you don't believe in ghosts, this one's really creepy. I don't know what the answer is. Like I said, this one's still a mystery, but it doesn't matter. No matter what the answer is, it's terrifying. Okay, so starting off with a little bit of a spoiler from this one, yes, was 12 years ago, but from the last edit, they said no longer living at the house where this took place and no more updates from here on out. Thank God. Just to reassure everybody, this one has a happy ending. This person comes out of all of this safe. The original post, I used an app called Sleep as Android to improve my sleep. One of the features is that it records your nighttime noises, snoring, sleep talk, cover ruffles, coughing, etc. I've been using the app since October 1st, 2013. I've never caught anything other than sounds created by me, changing positions or coughing or something like that. Although I've been told several times that I talk in my sleep by other people. That is an important detail. On 12:30 at 2:04 a.m., I caught something very weird. To set up, this night I was sleeping in my bed. My 3-year-old was with me that night as he is scared of the dark. It was just the two of us in the whole house. The next night I decided to go through and delete my recordings and saw this particular recording. In it, you can hear some clicks that start to get louder over the course of the recording. Eventually you can hear me say, "What are you doing?" And immediately after there's a deep voice that says, "Nothing." The clicks become very loud at that point, and at the end of the recording, you can hear the same voice say, "That's them." And she said, "I think that's what I heard." I'm pretty creeped out by this. I don't remember being awake that night. The only plausible explanation is that I answered my own sleep talking, but the voice doesn't even sound like me or something I could emulate. It definitely doesn't sound like a voice my preschooler could emulate either. I have no idea what the clicks could be. I keep a fan going at night for white noise, but the clicks sounds like they're coming from the right near my phone, which is placed right by me on the bedside table. I want to say that I've picked up the clicks a few times on recordings before, but deleted them thinking it was nothing. So this is the first time I've ever heard anything. She goes on to say, I would love some debunking here. I like creepy stuff, but certainly not in my own home. Okay, we're going to listen to the original recording, and then right after that, I'm going to play you the other recording. She added a cleaned up version. So there's another version that has like some of the background noise taken out. So put on headphones if you can. If not, you might have to take our word for it and then listen to it on headphones later. But you can, you could hear it without headphones, but it's just going to be better to hear it with headphones. Listen, I am a huge skeptic. I don't like this recording. I don't like this at all.
What are you doing? Okay. That's right. What are you doing? Okay. That's right.
OP posts pictures of the sleep graph showing the type of sleep that she was in when the noise was recorded, as well as a screenshot showing the time and date of the recording. Again, just as proof, because a lot of people lie on the internet. So people helped her clean up this audio, and she says, after listening to it cleaned up, I'm pretty sure I hear my name at the end. Jenny, others have said that they hear "I'm Danny" or "I'm dead" or "that's them." She originally says in the original post she thinks it says "that's them." Again, let me know what you guys hear in the comments. Ugh. And here's another important update. This post was linked to r/creepy. And just so there's an update for people wondering how this turned out, I have caught no more voice recordings since then. Also, as suggested by several people, I've beefed up my home security, changed locks, that kind of thing. This happened 4 months ago. Since then, I have had no more weird voice recordings, but there were 1 or 2 more instances of the clicking noises waking me up at night. During one of these times that it woke me up, I sat up to hear where the sound was coming from, even though I was pretty scared. The sound seemed to be coming from the area of my fan, about 12 feet away from my bed. But the closer I got, it started to fade away. When I got to my fan, it wasn't coming from my fan at all that I could tell, and it just stopped. Very weird. Also, I took someone else's advice and walked through my house shortly after the final clicking and asked that whatever it was to please leave my house and that my son and I were scared. I feel like a complete ding-dong doing that though, but I was up for trying about anything. I'd say nothing weird has happened for about 3 months now, and I am completely fine with that. This experience really messed with me for a while. Okay, I'm not going to read all the edits. They're very, very long, and it's also kind of stuff that's not really relevant now. It's like stuff that was happening in the moment and people analyzing the recording and everything like that. However, the conclusion seems to be a lot of people really, really over analyzing the recordings to determine if the voice, like if she somehow said nothing herself, but a lot of people analyzing the audio believe that no, that's not her. And I agree. Again, not an audio analyzer. I'm not an expert, but that does not sound like her. The fact that her voice when she's talking in her sleep sounded pretty normal, sounded like a woman's voice, that nothing sounded so low. There's absolutely no way it was her son. There's no way it was her son. A child that hasn't gone through puberty could not make a voice like that, and it obviously wasn't her. So I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not saying it's a ghost. I don't know. And like I said, it all turned out well and good. She moved out of that house, so she no longer lives there and never had another experience after that. So what could this be? My first thought, again, I would be terrified that this was an intruder, not a ghost. I would be checking my attic, making sure that there's no crawl spaces or anything that somebody could be frogging me, living in my house or something. Because as we've seen, frogging happens. And is it somebody who in the middle of the night finally risked coming out of their hiding place to go to the kitchen and get food or something like that? And when she said, "What are you doing?" they panicked and were like, "Nothing," because they thought that she was awake. And then once they realized she wasn't awake, they went on their merry way. The reason I don't think that is because she didn't seem to find, from what I saw, she didn't seem to have any other evidence that somebody was frogging her or living in her house. And I think she would have told us if she found food or other mysterious stuff happening around the house, if that were the case. Again, I mean, I guess it's possible there was an intruder and they just didn't do anything. Like they just went in and then left without taking anything. But that just seems so unlikely. That just seems super unlikely. Again, it's possible, but that seems more unlikely than a paranormal activity. I don't know. So that's possible, and that's like scarier than a ghost for sure. I mean, we have to entertain the fact that what if this was paranormal? Again, I don't think this is solid evidence because we don't know for sure. It could have been a weird glitch in the recording. Maybe her phone was somehow picking up other radio frequencies. Can apps do that? Can sleep apps do that if they're just recording? Maybe it somehow picked up somebody else's something, like a weird glitch in the app. Like, I know baby monitors can pick up the neighbor's baby monitors and stuff like that, but it just seems like that's not possible for an app like this. I don't know. The other thing about it being possibly paranormal is like, then she hasn't had she didn't mention anything else happening in the house. She didn't mention that she was experiencing other weird things going on in the house. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Obviously, the whole point of this video is that these all remain a mystery, so we don't know. But I wonder if this haunts her. I wonder if she still thinks to this day, like, what the hell was that. I'm just trying to put myself in her shoes. And if this had happened to me, I would have had to move as well. And I would be constantly on edge and terrified. It would just be really hard to sleep after that. Now, listening to this again, like, is this the pareidolia effect? But just what else would that noise be? And to me, again, like, EVPs, I always think is the pareidolia effect, because I feel like it's just assigning like human voices to random noise, and we're turning it into it saying like, hello, or like, I'm so and so, when that's not really it. But this, to me, it just so clearly sounds like a man responding to her, saying nothing after she says, what are you doing? Please leave your comments down below. Please, please, please tell me what you think, because I need other theories. I need plausible explanations for this so I can sleep knowing that this happened to somebody. I don't usually ask this of you guys, but if you want to go follow me over on Instagram, I'm trying to get verified over there because it's connected to this account, and Instagram does not believe that my account is big enough or legitimate enough to be verified, and I keep applying, and it's been very... Can you go follow me, please? If you have Instagram, please go follow me on Instagram. I do post like random personal updates. I do update my stories sometimes over there. And if I go on trips and stuff, I update my stories. And I'm also going on a trip very soon where I might be meeting up with another YouTuber that you guys might want to see some pictures and posts about that. So there is, and sometimes I do occasionally post like random, actual, just normal creepy videos over there as well. So please go follow me on Instagram. It's over here. If you want to join the Patreon, we're doing the exclusive this Not Safe for Work iceberg over there for mid-tiers and above if you're interested in that. That's gonna be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video, and thanks again to Love and Pies for sponsoring. Here is the top tier patrons. As always, I appreciate you guys all so much. Our newest top tiers for this week are Bria Page and Britt Bentz. Thank you guys so much for joining at the top tier. You are amazing, and I will see you all in the next one. Okay, bye.